Hey blues guitar fans, this is John with the Blues Guitar Institute, and this is your Tuesday Blues, lesson number 41. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important guitar techniques to the blues. It's something that really has a very vocal sound, and it really makes the blues sound like the blues. It's one of the core components to me of blues guitar playing, and that is your string bending, and specifically a quarter step bend. Before we talk about a quarter step bend, let's review what a full step and a half step bend really, what it really means. So a full step bend is like taking a C note on your guitar, just pick any C note, and bending it all the way up until it sounds like a D note. If you're thinking about the guitar, then that's going to be up 2 frets would be your D note. So a half step would just be half that distance. So it's like taking a C and bending it up to a C sharp. So then maybe you can see where we're going with a quarter step bend. A quarter step bend would be half the bend of a half step bend, all right? So the funny thing is we don't have a pitch reference there, and it's kind of in between. It doesn't even have a name. It's in between the C and the C sharp. So it really adds a ton of color and just a really cool vibe to your blues playing. So let's grab the guitar and I'll take you through a few bends, and then I think you really will get the sense of what this quarter step bending business is all about. Alright, so here's how to play the lick. I'm pumping out this bass, this A bass, and then I'm doing this Chuck Berry kind of rip-off thing that's such a bluesy move to do. And what's happening there is, I'm going to skip over the quarter step bends just to show you the notes real quick, and we'll come back to it, but I've got the 5th fret on the 3rd string up to the 7th, and then I do the bar real quick on the 5th string, on the 5th fret on the 2nd and 1st string, and that's the sort of Chuck Berry vibe. But then I'm going to land here with my ring finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. It sounds like this. Alright, but let's come back to that quarter step bend, because that's the point of this entire lesson. And it's right there. Doing it once you get to this 7th fret on the 3rd string. And it just has this sort of real vocal quality to it, and you got to make sure that you're bending it, but you're not bending it too far. And too far would be up to this pitch, and you certainly wouldn't want to go beyond that pitch. So you're technically bending this out of tune. See, you hear how we didn't hit this note? Just a slight bend, It's going to take you sitting down and just trying to bend like that, and making sure that you're not going too far. This is kind of odd because you've got to train yourself to pull this thing out of tune, but this is oh so bluesy. So it takes a lot of control. So I would really just pause right there and work on getting that crying sort of tone out of this bend. And it's pretty quick when you play it in context of the lick, but that's how a lot of these quarter step bends happen. You don't just bend and hang on to them. A lot of times you certainly can, but they just kind of have a way of being this passing sort of tone in a lick. So here we go. Let's keep going. We've got this bit. Then we're going to do the next quarter step bend in this part. It's right there. I'm bending on the 5th fret of the 1st string. I'm doing a little quarter step bend, and then going back to this G note here, which is the 8th fret on the 2nd string. And then I'm just finishing it out by hitting the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then pulling off 7/5 on the 3rd string. So notice the quarter step bend there. Hear how it's not getting to this note. Alright, and then the last little segment also has a quarter step bend. Surprise, surprise, and that is you're going to bend up. It's going to be a little tricky for you because it's going to involve your pinky, the little guy that never wants to do anything you want him to do. But you're going to push up on the 8th fret and do a quarter step bend. And that's how we're going to finish this off. So 8th fret, 2nd string, quarter step bend included. Then back to the 5th fret. And we're going to do another pull off, 7/5 on the 3rd string, and hit this A note here on the 7th fret, 4th string, and then I'm going to do a little hammer on. I just love this little sound. It has nothing to do with a quarter step bend, but it's moving from the minor 3rd to the major 3rd of the scale, or the key that we're working in. Alright, and that's just from the 5th fret up to the 6th fret. Has a real nice ending sound to it. So all together the lick sounds like this. And slow down, here we go. Alright, so I hope you really just hear that bluesiness already in those quarter step bends. You probably heard it a ton in others playing, and it may even be one of the things that's missing from yours. So I really encourage you to start working on your bending and specifically work on these quarter step bends. And I've got tabs, so definitely head back to bluesguitarinstitute.com and grab the tab for this lesson. And of course, if you have any questions as you're working your way through this, just give me a shout, John@bluesguitarinstitute.com, and practice this thing, because it is so important to get that cool, bluesy, slick sort of vocal sound. All right, that's it for this lesson. Have a great time with this, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks a ton.